Mountain View Parkway. You know how we feel about this project. And I also wanted to show you the limited commercial and industrial that we already have. So I don't see, shouldn't really change it. I wanted to remind you again, the Planning Commission did their due diligence. They tabled it on the 11th and then voted on the 17th unanimously to deny. So we agree with that decision. And my question is the staff have more authority, or does it usurp authority over the Planning Commission? Because it seems like they have pushed this really hard. My wife couldn't be here because she's working, so I'm just going to read her comments that she posted. The land has been planned use slated for phase 2 of the nice business section we have adjoined our neighborhood already. Very little traffic, quiet, so the land does have value use already planned. Of course, we all are concerned about the traffic endangering our kids and those around the kids, families coming soon, as well as creating a traffic bottleneck at Mountain View on 365. This will not only impact the 100 families in the subdivision, but other innocent lives traveling 365. The only interesting proposed congested neighborhood serves is the development company, 89 homes, 30 acres, is the location proposed is not practical. Using only one entrance to our subdivision, there is land elsewhere more well suited for this development. The City Hall has no obligation to grant this request as a developer doesn't even own this land yet. Also, the Planning Commission voted unanimously no. Lula community benefits by keeping it zoned commercial like it already is. Thank you. That's from my wife.
Thank you. Anybody else?
All right, Robert Grizzle, 6400 Narramore Way, Lula, Georgia. All right, a few things about this. One, Lula has plenty of growth right now in development that we are still not prepared for the infrastructure for. We got, over 500 homes just right there at Moss Farms. We don't have the fire station for it. I was at the meeting the other night with Mr. Greg Poole. Yeah, there's a fire station planned. They don't know when. It ain't even on the radar. Well, we're going to do it one day, but it's not even on the radar now. The fire station we have cannot even serve the citizens of Lula. As most of y'all know, I know for a fact it cannot serve the citizens of Lula. I needed it. It wasn't there. Talking about the developer. Not attacking anybody, but giving the ultimatum, if you don't approve me, I'll just go apply for de-annexation. Well, that brings them right back before you guys. You got to approve that too. That's not a way out. That's not a way to force you to approve something. I'm not against the development in a whole, but the size of it. Taking our highway business land that we have very little of. Y'all put me on the downtown or the development authority. It's my duty to try to protect highway business land. We need more business property, not less business property. All right, I'll wrap it up. There's also two other issues. Well, one other issue concerning two. There's people on the city council that are looking to do business with this developer that's got acreage. If they're looking to do business with this developer, they need to recuse themselves from voting. That would be unethical and would be challengeable down the road afterwards. If you are in business with the developer looking to rezone land, that is an ethical violation. Thank you.
Anybody else? We'll have time in the meeting for second comments if no one else right now. So appreciate the input. Next item on the agenda is approving the agenda. And like I said, the first thing I noticed, we've noticed is the month is different. Anything else different about the agenda? Oh, one other thing, we want to move the executive session up between number 2 and number 3. So what we'll do, we'll announce the early month, and then we'll go into executive session, discuss personnel, legal, and real estate, then come back out and finish up the agenda from there. Any other changes to the agenda y'all want to make, or?
No, I think that's it, as long as we move the executive session.
I make a motion that we change the date to March and move executive session to item 3.
I'll second. No. Juliet, yeah.
Motion
Whoever.
by Denise, second by Juliet, to amend the agenda, changing the dates and the executive session timing. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Just change the agenda. Okay, everybody seen the minutes? Any changes? Any changes we'll make to it? I think Chris had one change he wanted to.
Yeah, I'd say it was made. It's been updated.
They have been changed. You other changes y'all notice in the minutes need to change, or? I'll entertain a motion
I'll
then.
make a motion to approve the minutes as written that have been provided to council.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, second by Chris to approve the minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Give me just a second, we're gonna sign here, that we'll forget to.
Here you go.
Okay, we are the month for April, March. Is as follows: District 1 is 5953 Chattahoochee Street. District 2, 5813 Cobb Street. District 3, 6707 Belton Bridge Road. District 4, 5362 Mountain View Parkway. District 5, 6018 Maiden Lane. Congratulations to all y'all. Fine job. Now, I'll entertain a motion to go to executive session.
I make a motion with going to executive session.
Second it.
Motion made by Denise, second by Garnet, to go to executive session. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're gonna be in executive session. And we'll come back and finish the agenda. Thank y'all for your patience.
Well, you gotta wait on her to come in. I know. If they run ahead of us,
Why not?
we can. We can do that.
Thank y'all for bearing with us. We had some serious discussion in executive session, and we're back. And we're going to item number 3, the rezoning request from Revived Land Group. I'm not gonna read all the details, everybody knows about it. We reduced side setbacks from 10 to 7.5. Encroach on the buffer and replant it. And Joe, you clear the other one up?
Yes, the third variance requested reduce the road width from 27 feet to 24 feet is no longer needed. There was a ordinance amendment that apparently was not adopted, so the width meets the city's requirements, road width.
Okay, discussion time. What do you think, Ernie? What do you think?
Go ahead and take your vote. I'll tell you now.
I think,
No more, you want to talk about it? Okay.
No,
well, we can open discussion this way. Let's see.
well, I say I think it's a wrong time, wrong place, too many houses. I'm not in favor of
I'll make a motion, that the Revive Land Group LLC rezoning request, I make a motion that council approve. And now I'd like to offer opportunity for discussion on any conditions that may be needed on it. I know we have recommendations, in front of us. I believe there were 17. I don't know if everyone's had an opportunity to review. But at this time, I think it would be good for us to have a discussion on anything related to that before we take a vote. I believe the conditions are on page 7. There's 8 pages, and the conditions that have been recommended would be on page 7.
Do we need a second for the motion before we begin discussion?
I'll second.
Motion made by Tony, second by Chris, to adopt, approve the rezoning request. Any more discussion?
Just to verify this, we're looking at 89 lots, but on the new proposed map, it's only 87, correct?
Correct.
So it is 87.
87 is.
There was one condition, I'm trying to find the number, and it regarded distance between, and I don't know if it was rooftop or foundation. I think it was foundation. Frank, do you recall,
It was item number 2.
item number 2? Okay, so that is on page 7. That's permitting the reduced side yard setback for each lot from 10 feet to 7.5 feet on the proposed. I think now we've determined it's 87 lots through the revised plan.
The revised drawing with the guest parking and the extended trails
Right.
reduced to 87.
And that measurement being to the foundation of the buildings, this assumes there are no eaves extending out more than 18 inches into the setbacks.
Correct.
So that was one I know that has been brought up and discussed on numerous occasions. So that is a condition that is part of the 17 that have been recommended. Now, it was also brought up regarding the revised drawings with parking, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there is, and I know all council has a map, it's seven additional parking locations throughout the development. So yeah, 7. And it looks like we're looking at what, I think it's, I didn't count each space, but it looks to be approximately 65 or more, 65 parking spaces that I know was also brought up. In addition to the revised drawing, it does have, and I don't know how many linear feet of walking trails have been added, but it appears to be three different trails that have been added to the property development.
Correct.
And the other one that was key is the condition number 10 recommendation, the establishment of a mandatory HOA applied to all lots prior to the issuance of a building permit. I think that had also been a topic of discussion, just as a reminder. So are there any other items in the list of 17 that we should discuss now before taking this vote on the motion?
Frank, on item 12,
Yes,
Where it's, talking about lots 6 and 7, was that adjustment made on this revised plan?
yes, they have adjusted.
Okay, we have a motion made to accept, to approve the rezoning revive group with conditions as stated by staff.
Mayor, one thing, just wanna make sure so that the conditions are clear, on the recommendation I have, this concept plan is February 25, 2025. Staff recommendation 1, is that the concept plan that y'all are reviewing?
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
showing 87, okay.
It's an update, the date has not changed on the plan. It's
And the
still,
number of units, right.
so number of units dropped, they added 50-some parking spaces and added the trail system.
I just want to make sure the motion is clear of what y'all are considering.
Should I rephrase the motion?
I think that's what we just,
For clarity, probably.
No. So I'll just rephrase the motion. I make a motion that for the Revive Land Group LLC proposal to rezone property consisting of 30.201 acres from highway business to planned residential development to develop 87 lots, and that's on the proposal that identifies additional parking and trails, for clarity.
Second.
any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
No.
Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is the pest control termite protection.
Yes, we discussed this at the workshop. One of the items Dennis was working on before he got ill again was bringing in pest control services. He had been working with Cook's Pest Control, so they've been around for about 2.5 years, trying to get Dennis to move it forward. In that effort, I also got a second quote from Arrow Exterminators. And you have the comparison sheet in front of you. The pest control services, Arrow Exterminators is $3,600 for the 6 buildings that we're discussing. And Cook's Pest Control was $4,680, so a little over $1,000 more. The termite services, comparison, first year Cook's would be cheaper by $690. Second year, Arrow Pest Control is cheaper by $808. So the savings over the first 2 years is $118 to Arrow Exterminators. One of the discussions we had internal to us, to staff, was the water treatment plant, since it's basically all concrete and cinder blocks. We felt, other than the rafters, we felt we did not need pest control, termite control there. So that would reduce the initial first year by $799 for Cooks and $800 for Arrow. So I'll be glad to answer questions. I believe this is one of the new items that we are working on in the draft budget, but this is, I think, a needed place. Both of outfits identified areas of existing termite damage. I would say the depot, the old city hall, and public works.
And so you just need a motion as to which
Which
vendor,
one you-
which vendor's proposal.
Well, one, do you want me to move forward? And two, if yes, then which vendor?
I'll make a motion that we move forward with pest control.
I'll second.
Motion made by Denise and second by Tony to move forward with pest control
Hold
service.
on.
Just pest control or pest management?
I'm sorry.
Oh, pest control and the termite.
And whether it's all 6 buildings or just 5 of the buildings for termite?
Look, now,
I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding. All right, let me revise what I said. Okay, I make a motion that we approve the pest control and the termite protection, and you said the Public Works was the one that was,
The wastewater treatment.
Wastewater treatment. and omit the termite on the wastewater treatment plant.
I'll second.
Motion made by Denise, second by Tony to approve pest control and termite services for termite not at the wastewater treatment, which that changes that total, right? From
It does.
3708 to 20, subtract $800
On
from
the
that,
arrow, it would reduce it to
29, subtract 800 from it.
43, 3598.
You tried 799 from 3700, you get
$29.09 is what.
I just wanted 299.
If you go to
Cook,
Cooks,
yes, okay.
since they're combined, it's
Oh, he did the combined.
But we haven't
We
decided
haven't
which one.
decided.
No, I'm trying to establish price for both, all of us, so we'll have apples and apples. The Cook's price then becomes $29.09, is that correct?
yes. For year one, yes.
For termite service, yes, $29.09. And that's for termite service. And what, it's going to subtract 280 for the other one, which is 1903. Is that correct, for the annual? For Cook? Subtract 280 from 2183. Subtract 280 from 2183 goes 1903. Okay. So now we got Cook's proposal, 2909 for annual and 1903 for, 2909 initial, and then 1903 annual, and then we got Aaron, so we don't have termite for either one of them, right? So we'll subtract termite from that,
Correct.
3598. Subtract termite from that is 1200, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So now we got prices.
Does anyone have any experience with any of these?
I do. I've used both companies. One company was always consistent, and this new company was always there. They did what we needed. If anytime we needed extra, they came out. The other company would say they would, and I had video evidence that they never showed. They would say that they would bait boxes, and again, I had evidence that they never touched my boxes. So I feel strongly towards one over the other.
Anyone else?
Something else, on the total pest control service, I did not subtract the moisture plant from those.
Correct.
We still need to do that, right?
No,
Oh,
because,
okay, they all help, we'll have pest control service. Just not termite service.
correct.
So what's everybody's feeling?
So now all we need is a motion for
Which?
the vendor. since we've already discussed,
Service.
the omission of the, of the certain facilities that don't need it.
Okay, then I'll make a motion that we move forward with Cook's Pest Control, omitting the termite for the water treatment plant. I'm aware it's a little more expensive, but they're a heck of a lot more reliable.
I'll second.
I'm sorry,
I'm tired on that. I'm
sorry about that. I'm sorry, what,
Cooks.
okay. Motion made by Juliet, second by Garnet, to accept Cook's Pest Control bid for termite and pest control service. Did I get that correct?
Yes.
And all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Cook said yes. Right, anything else on that?
I got it.
Frank, you still didn't fix on number 5. We're not Lul. On number 5, when we move forward, the subject, you have City of Lul. Not City of Lula.
Yeah, it's a spelling error. That's the RFP for residential solid waste, commercial waste collection, page 1, subject.
Oh,
Small typo.
we'll do it afterwards.
We're not renaming the city.
We're not renaming our city.
Okay.
Okay, that's the next item on the agenda, looks like to me, request for purchase of solid waste.
Yes,
Request for price.
as we discussed at the work session last week, we've been dealing with complaints, residential complaints, commercial complaints for a long time. We had the government service manager in front of you, saying that improved services that it has for a little while, and then basically returned to where we've been in the past. And in fact, I shared a complaint with Joey last week where not only did it not get picked up, it got turned over. So, and as Joey has explained to you, we would have to write a letter of breach if you wanted to move forward with doing this type of bid out for services. And we've been under this contract for 20 years, which is a bit unusual that you go that many extension periods. But what I've gotten from council individually and this group is you guys would like to desire to move forward with a bid. The process, because of timing, if we did change, requires us to back off a number of months, at least 3 months for any new vendor, and then time for us to review any bids and award the bid. So that's why we're trying to do it this far ahead of the proposed termination date, which was the end of the 1-year extension period.
And I will add language to
90 days.
the proposal, subject to the termination of the existing contract, because we have to give 10 days notice to the current contractor to appear before you and explain, within 30 days of the date they received the notice, to appear before you and either explain that they've cured the error or you accept their explanation. So anyway, we'll add just the language that would be subject to termination of the current contract.
So do we need a motion to move forward with this, or do we need a motion to also submit that letter to the current vendor?
Really need both.
And
Okay.
I would like to, I know we have the spelling issue on page 1, but also on page 5, I requested that we include at the end of sentence 1, which it's page 5, item D, collection equipment. The contractor shall identify the type and number of vehicles and equipment it intends to use for regular collection of services. And I would like to add just a pin to that, including gross vehicle weight ratings. So including gross vehicle weight ratings. I just want to make sure that that's in the RFP And that way we'll have the ability to, identify, have them self-identify their plan for equipment. And then also, if they fail to do that, we can, ask them questions for clarity.
Well, and it would also save our streets.
Yes, that's definitely the intention. We want to make sure that any payment that we're paying for stays in good condition.
One more thing to change, while we're changing the street address, not 6500 Main Street, 6055 Main Street. On front page. Submit to
Oh.
6055 Main Street, not 6500. They go P.O. box anyway, so. So, our motion was to go forward with this.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we not only submit the letter to our current vendor terminating, but also move forward with submitting this up for bid. Does that work?
Well, we don't want to terminate before we get a new one.
Given notice.
Alright, give them notice. So a motion to give them notice, and then also a motion to move forward with receiving bids.
Can we not receive the bid before we give them notice?
She's just telling me to go ahead and send the notice, but yes, you can receive the bids, but the way Frank's got that set up, that would be sometime in May. So we would be pursuing these tracks simultaneously.
Because we're asking if we terminate notice, they could be on our garbage, we got garbage in the street not being collected
Well, we still have the contract with them
through the end of the year. Through the end of the year.
through, it's set up where it goes through October, end of October, and new term in November. But their term would really go through November of 2028.
Oh,
So
okay.
we're seeking to come out of this contract
Okay,
early.
just want to make sure that, make sure the garbage gets picked up somehow.
It's just a letter of notice telling them that we're putting bids out. Correct?
Yes,
And they can't
It's
bid.
not a
They can't
termination
bid
notice.
it.
they can bid.
Okay. We
I'll
got
second.
motion made
Sorry.
by Juliet, second by Denise, to send out RFPs and letter for waste collection services. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Okay. We're down to citizen comments again. Anybody's got one, come on. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Oh, thank you.
It works.
My name is June Vincent. I live at 4719 Old Cornelia Highway in Lula. First thing I want to say is thank you so much, Mr. Smith, for your no vote. I'm not anti-housing, but I have a medical background. And when I hear about all these houses moving in, I'm thinking, are we building a firehouse? Are we bringing in ambulances? Because if you've got a child who just fell in the swimming pool, you've got a 365 accident, and you've got 2 people having a heart attack, who gets the one ambulance that we have in Lula? Who gets it? You want to be number 2, 3, or 4? We are not prepared medically to handle all this. We have one ambulance here. The next one's in Gillsville. And that's a while away when you have a limited amount of time to get oxygen to the brain before that person is a vegetable. You want to be the vegetable? Do your family want to take care of you? Y'all need to think about that. There's more than just collecting fees and building houses. There is a human side of bringing all these people in, because you're not bringing in robots that never break down. We all have medical emergencies. I know 4 people in this room have had a heart attack. So who wanted to be number 2, 3, and 4 to get the ambulance?
Thank you.
And I'm sorry I sound angry, but I do get upset because I don't like to watch people die unnecessarily.
Thank you, Jim. Anybody else?
Roy Hall, 5152 Mountain View Parkway. I am upset. Because it's obvious to me that none of y'all, save Mr. Smith, and God bless you, sir, considered any of the comments that anybody came out and brought concerns. And I sat through the planning commission meetings, and on the 17th, when they voted to deny, I saw this man's head turn red as a beet. So I asked him, I said, why would he be so mad that they didn't give him what he wanted? So it's giving me the impression that something's going on behind the scenes. He's talking to Mr. Norton, I don't know, but something's up to me. This doesn't seem right. And I don't know that you're considering the safety of the people that live in the hills of Mountain View, who now have raised their kids up to 17, 8, 16, are now driving. I'm going to have to get out there and try to go south. Those young kids haven't learned how to drive as good as old. Even adults are getting in wrecks. If anybody dies, their blood's going to be on y'all's hands. And I'm disappointed in you because you could have vetoed this and stopped it.
Thank you, Roy. Anybody else?
Do we have plans to add on to our fire station?
Okay, let's hear that. I don't know.
No, Greg Poole.
According to Greg Poole, there's not one in the foreseeable future.
Because we can't borrow other counties' fire departments.
If you don't mind, if you'll come up to the mic and address the council, please.
No, there's no plans out.
So there's no net.
Y'all go ahead and bring them on in here. And y'all was wanting the gross weight of the trucks. You're not gonna stop all these trucks coming down this road. You're coming across 51, across the railroad tracks and everything. So just be careful when you enter out there. You know, I mean, it's getting dangerous. You know, if y'all sit in these little meetings with your other gentlemen, y'all understand what's going to go on. You know, y'all can bring in these little houses, these little subdivision developers, but you're still going to get a city right over here, you know, on 365. You know, we could kind of eliminate a little bit of growth and keep our city, you know, minimum, instead of looking off the line. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, it's time for council comments. Tony, you want to start?
Sure. Okay. So, you know, we did take a vote tonight, as everyone knows, on our development that was presented for us tonight. That decision was not taken lightly, and I can assure you that all of the concerns and comments that everyone had brought to us was considered. I know that we've been back and forth on this for quite some time now, and really just hashing out all of the details. I don't think anyone up here on council really, you know, wanted to have to make the decision like this, but you know, there was careful consideration, you know, given to, you know, that was brought into this discussion even tonight, because there were several concerns that we had. And I know that it's very difficult for others to understand, you know, how we make these decisions and the other inputs that we have that are in addition to, you know, citizens' concerns and comments. But we also had to, you know, identify impacts to our local schools. And I know that others would say, well, that's just going to overcrowd the schools, but we have the opposite situation happening right now, where we have a school that is potentially getting closed, and I encourage you all to go down to the school superintendent and express your concern that we do have growth that's happening here in Lula, and that we don't need to lay off staff at Lula Elementary School, and we need to keep that school open. You know, I would hate to see that school disappear. Additionally, you know, we have, you know, issues related to potential developments that are coming this way. We have annexation and de-annexation items that have been brought before us, and anyone that's attended these sessions here in public, you've heard, you know, options of de-annexation and dealing with the same development coming in, or even townhomes or condominiums going in the same place. But we also have to consider impacts to other annexation and de-annexation that occurs just based on the proximity of it, as to where that project lies. I also, know that we, could significantly incur litigation expenses as a result of any decision that we made, one way or the other. And believe me, we're in a situation now where we're working on our 2026 budget, and that certainly was a concern for us, financial impacts to all citizens of Lula, all of them, as to what could happen regarding any decision that we made tonight. So just know that this was not an easy decision to make, and I lost a lot of sleep, making this decision and I know other council members did as well. And I appreciate everyone in the community that did call me, and we had those discussions. I had discussions with those that were in favor. I had those discussions that were opposed to it, and we had a really good discussion about issues and topics that were going to come up. And so I'm grateful for those who did call, and I appreciate all of the concerns and comments that you guys have brought to us. And if others. You can't make everybody happy all the time. I know that to be the case, and this was a example of that. And I know it was a very difficult decision. And that's all I'm going to say about that particular subject tonight. But I do want to thank you all for coming and participating and seeing this decision as well as the other decisions that were made tonight. And I appreciate all of your involvement, and I ask that you continue to keep doing that, because we definitely need your input, and we do hear you. And it's just, sometimes the decisions have other inputs that you may not hear. It's not that we're trying to be, meeting in secret or anything like that, but it's just a lot of discussion, a lot. And so I just hope that everyone continues to come. But thank you.
Your turn.
My turn to follow that. Yeah, I just want to echo what Tony said. I couldn't have worded it better than that. There was a lot of sleeplessness, a lot of research that went into this decision between myself, Tony, everyone sitting up here. There's a lot of impacts that y'all don't see, future impacts that can happen. And there wasn't an easy vote one way or the other on this. There's consequences either way. But I'd like to thank y'all for coming out and for giving your input. I don't know. It was a hard decision to make. I just want y'all to be aware of that. All right. I'll let you go to Chris.
Good, man. Well, thank y'all for coming. So just echo what they've said. It was an easy decision. We all put a lot of thought into it, all the decisions, and this one got more than most, but thank y'all for coming out.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out, and I'd also like to bring up and thank everyone that helped with Mr. Mordecai's 100th birthday party last Saturday. We had a huge crowd, had plenty of food, and the people that missed it just missed a good occasion. He well deserved it. Thank you.
Julia?
Yes, thank you for those that did come out to our memorial, celebration of life for Mordecai and Miss Mary. I know that y'all are sitting here listening to us discuss how hard the decision was for tonight, and you're going, no, it wasn't. Trust me, it was. Because bottom line is, we either make a decision that impacts one group, or we make a decision that impacts another. We either choose one thing that we don't like to protect us from something else, or we deal with the consequence that could be worse. And either way, this decision wasn't easy. It absolutely sucked to make. Did I like my vote the way I had to vote? Absolutely not. Did I vote the way that would protect the majority of our community? Yes. Does it suck that it's going to impact fire and medical and emergency services? Yes. But hopefully we can work with the county, because the county handles those, to improve those. So I would encourage you to go and talk to your county representatives to try to help us improve those factors. I understand y'all are complaining about the Hall County not being able to reach. Okay, I'm on the Banks County side with a quarter of the city. Our service situation is worse than your service situation in Hall County. Your time that they actually show up is a heck of a lot better than what we're dealing with over here in Banks County. Sometimes it has to come from the actual opposite side of Banks County to actually service us. So we're waiting 20 to 30 minutes extra. I'm not trying to complain, but what y'all are facing is not the same as what we're having to face there too. So it does suck. It's horrible. I understand that more than anybody. But we had to make a decision to protect everybody. And I'm sorry that people aren't happy with it, but we did the best that we could. Joe, your turn. Before I start crying, because I'm that close.
Hall County people's always paid higher taxes than y'all people over in Banks County paid. We deserved a little more.
I didn't realize this was a county versus county situation tonight. Wow, it changed in a hurry on me. I do want to thank everybody for coming. This was a tough decision. And it's one of those things you got to decide which people do you want to pick. If you have unexpected consequences no matter what decision you make. You want a grocery store, you gotta have rooftops. You want country living, you don't want rooftops, but you don't have a grocery store. There's all kind of arguments going on, and the majority of people in Lula seem to want a grocery store, which we've got one, but they seem to want a chain grocery store. So to get that, you've got to have the rooftops here. You've got to have people living here to fund that grocery store, or else they won't be in business. So that's one of the strong things about the decision. I don't like it. I was against it the whole time. I don't know a lot about it, but I don't have a vote in this. But I think the houses are too close together. That's just me. I can say this now. I've already told you this. It's not a secret. But it passed. Y'all got your houses, you got your subdivision. I hope it's a pretty one. I really do. And look forward to doing business with it. And with that, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second it.
Motion by Julie, yes, and we're going to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.